vision for this election being based around 3 key points, which is work, homes and families. And we're focusing on business today. You might wonder how each of those 3 has a business focus, but I'm going to try and cover each of them off as we go through my 6 minutes today. So work. First of all, we have some amazing opportunities here in Palmerston North. We know what our advantages are, we know what our strengths are. They're based around food innovation, tertiary education, research and development more widely. There's the transport and distribution sector, and there's our retail sector as well. Plus we have a really strong public sector. Those are our strengths and advantages, and what we need to be doing is making the most of those strengths and advantages to power our economy forward. Sadly, right now, you couldn't exactly say our economy is powering forward. Our median income over the last 6 years has actually fallen in real terms. Our unemployment rate is way higher than the national average, and that's quite unusual for us. We usually sit at around about above or below the national average. We don't sit as high as we do right now. And we're just not really kind of making the most of the opportunities that we have. And what Labor says is that is symptomatic of a lack of focus on regional development. We used to have a regional development minister. We don't have one in this government. And I think with the eye being taken off the ball, all regions, provinces like the Manawatu, are feeling the same strain that we are. So we will bring a focus back to regional development. And we'll do that by having a minister who's responsible for it, but also having a regional development fund of $200 million that we will use to partner with regions to look at the infrastructure that will support them to play to their strengths. Now here in Palmerston North, I think there are 2 areas which are obvious candidates for that. One of them is obviously food innovation, especially around Food HQ. There are some infrastructure projects that would support the growth of the Food HQ concept, and they could be brought forward with some support from central government. The other is transport and distribution. We've had the fantastic announcement in the last couple of weeks around the inland port. The footprint for that itself will be provided by the private sector, and that's really pleasing. But we need to make sure that we've got good transport infrastructure around that to make sure we're making the maximum value of that development. And at the moment, I have to say that the situation with our transport infrastructure is not what it could be, especially with the remarkable focus on roads of national significance to the detriment of other forms of transport infrastructure. Our other broader economic plans will also support our R&D focused industries here locally. Things like research and development tax credits. The capital gains tax is specifically designed to encourage more investment in innovative businesses and to reduce investment in things like property speculation. That type of broader economic policy is about trying to diversify our economy. We are very much focused on raw products, pumping as much milk powder and logs overseas as we possibly can, rather than building the value of those products here in New Zealand and getting the value of that in terms of work and additional export value as well. So there's a lot of economic shift that we need to do that will be of particular benefit to the Manawatu. This time it has completely stopped, so give me a wave at 1 minute. The second area is homes. Now you might wonder, what have homes got to do with economic development? Well, I make the first point is that we have so much investment in New Zealand wrapped up in residential property that we don't actually release enough of it to invest in our startup businesses and our growing businesses. With the tax advantages of putting your money into residential property, which is a safer investment than other forms of investment, it's a no-brainer to put as much money in there as possible. That pumps up the price of housing and locks New Zealanders out of home ownership, and we have the lowest rate of home ownership that we've had in 50 years, but it also stifles innovation. It stifles creative businesses who are desperately seeking capital investment to grow beyond that startup phase. And we really do need to make some changes, not only with the capital gains tax, but also building up Kiwi saver investment so that that pool of capital is available here in New Zealand to invest in our own businesses. Third area that I talk a lot about is always families. And the particular bit I want to pull out of that section here is education. If we're going to be moving towards being a more diversified, high-skill, high-wage economy that has more technologically based businesses driving our economic growth, we need our young people to have the skills to be able to engage in that type of economy. So it starts right at school. It starts with kids being able to have the same opportunities no matter what their background is. And we're seeing more and more use of digital technology in school. That is fantastic if we're going to have our kids growing up being digital natives and able to participate in the digital world, but it's no good if half the families don't have internet access at home. And in parts of our city, half of our families with dependent children do not have internet access at home, and the kids don't have a digital device with which they can connect to the internet. So we have plans to make sure that both of those are affordable for every child from year 5 upwards, because if we're going to grow an economy that provides for everybody in the future, we actually have to start right at the beginning. It also is about tertiary education and making that more accessible to all as well, but my time is about to run out. So that gives you a flavour of how we think we can grow our economy by making sure there are diverse opportunities for work, that everybody has a warm, dry home to live in that doesn't cost them too much and there's not too much investment in residential property, and having an education system which prepares our next generation for a technologically based, diverse future economy.